Got more on this. Brie, good to see you. What can you tell us about the president's historic meeting with these two leaders and the agreements that were signed?
Well, good to see you, Yasmin. So Friday's meeting was significant on many levels. It marked the first time that President Biden hosted foreign leaders at Camp David, sending a strong message about the importance of the trilateral summit. While both Japan and South Korea are strong individual allies of the U.S., they have a long history of disputes with each other. Friday's meeting signals a dramatic improvement in their relations, the three nations uniting over mutual concerns, including North Korea's nuclear provocations and rising tensions with China. During Friday's summit, President Biden unveiled various economic and security agreements, including a new crisis hotline for the nations to consult each other in the face of a threat. Here's more about the agreement from President Biden.
We're doubling down on information sharing, including on the DPRK's missile launches and cyber activities, strengthening our ballistic missile defense cooperation.
And even before it began, the summit drew harsh criticism from China. A Chinese foreign ministry spokesperson stating the meeting will, quote, spark vigilance and opposition in the countries in the region. The White House pushed back, saying the partnership is not a NATO for the Pacific. President Biden said he does expect to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping later this year, but so far no date has been set. Back to you.
All right, Brie Jackson for us. Thank you.
So we're outside the Fulton County Jail, and we do know that David Schaefer and Kathleen Latham, they are two of former President Trump's 18 co-defendants, and they turned themselves in early this morning. So they've been booked and processed, and that is the same process we expect the former president to go through when he turns himself in on Thursday. Now, as you mentioned, John Eastman, he turned himself in on Tuesday and was booked. Eastman was a former member of former President Trump's legal team and is known for the allegedly orchestrating the so-called fake elector scheme, that's the plot that was intended to keep Trump in office following his election loss. Meanwhile, tonight is going to be a major test to see if one of former President Trump's Republican rivals, they can have a breakthrough performance on the debate stage. 8 Republican candidates will face off in Milwaukee, including both defenders and enemies of the former president. Former President Trump announced last week that he did not plan to participate in the first 2 debates, citing his major leads in the polls. Now, Thursday, Trump is expected to turn himself in here at the Fulton County Jail. The Fulton County Sheriff's Office says that there will be a hard lockdown on the area surrounding the jail when the former president turns himself in. So what a split screen we have here. We have Republican candidates in Milwaukee preparing to go on the debate stage tonight, and then here in Georgia, we have the former president, Donald Trump, preparing to turn himself in at the Fulton County Jail on Thursday, Jimmy.
All right, Brie Jackson live for us in Atlanta this morning. Brie, thank you.
Things are starting to pick up here outside of the Fulton County Jail, where former President Trump is expected to turn himself in later today. That's one day ahead of that Friday deadline set by Georgia prosecutors. Now, as you know, former President Trump faces charges related to alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election results here in Georgia. Earlier this week, his bond was set at $200,000, and that included limitations on what he could post about this particular case. As of this morning, at least 9 of his 18 co-defendants have been booked or been surrendered to the Fulton County Jail. The latest include former President Trump's lawyers, Jenna Ellis, Sidney Powell, and Rudy Giuliani. Speaking to reporters after his release, former mayor of New York City, Giuliani, maintained his innocence, saying that these charges will be proven to be a hoax. Meanwhile, former President Trump's supporters, they are planning to have a protest later today outside of the Fulton County Courthouse. And the Fulton County Sheriff's Office says that they're planning to have this area surrounding the jail in a hard lockdown when former President Trump comes here to the Fulton County Jail to be processed and have his mugshot taken, which is something different than what we've seen in the 3 other criminal cases that he faces.